for 13 and red for 14. And then if you go over 14, I'll try to clap you down. And I will give a report on the time people have taken at the end of the meeting.
Thank you, Arvin. Now we'll have Craig talk about his educational moment.
After last week's meeting, we walked out, one of our members and I had a chat, and they asked how I prepared for the table topics contest at the district level. And I thought, well, it might be interesting as an educational moment here at the club. So I thought about it and remembered what I did to prepare for that contest. We were in a side room. All the contestants, the contestant number one stays in the room, everyone else goes out in a side room. The different contestants all have their own little thing they do to prepare. Some people stand and face the corner. They're doing mouthings and practice and so on. Some people are blathering on, just muttering, talking nothing. That's their way of dealing with nerves. And my way of dealing with nerves was a little bit different. I visualized what it would be like to go walk into the contest room, to hear that question, and then to walk up and be on stage. Now I have a pattern that I follow when I'm listening to questions, and that is thesis, point, or it could be point reason, and I have these blocks in my head. So what I do is I was sitting there visualizing those blocks, and whatever question came, putting in thesis, point, and then walking up. I also visualized sitting in the room, the audience smiling at me, them nodding and laughing and participating as I spoke. So I already saw what was to take place in the room. Eventually speaker number 5 was called. I walked in to the room, stood at the door, heard my question, and thesis, point came. And as I walked up, I noticed that other speakers, some of them would furrow their brow and look down, and someone would do this sort of thing, and someone would stare off into space, this sort of thing. And I tried to focus on being in a spirit of love, is what I call it anyway. So as I walked up, I kept my head level, I looked at the audience as I walked, trying to catch people's eyes, seeing people, watching them nod, and Craig, and things that are happening. And then when I got up on stage, shook the contest chair's hand, I stopped and stood at the center stage, pretty much as far forward as I could possibly be without falling off, and met people's eyes. Just stayed there in that moment, meeting people's eyes in silence, so the timekeeper doesn't start. And then when I started, one of the comments I got was, of all the speakers there, I was the most connected with the audience. And I believe it was visualizing the speech ahead of time, visualizing the emotional state I'd be in as I spoke, visualizing the emotional state of the audience as I spoke, visualizing myself come up and visualizing myself being there. So when it happened, it was as if it was already seen. So I believe the lesson is, visualize your speeches, visualize the things you're going to do, so when they happen, you've already been there.